Welcome back to the stay-at-home vlog, and that was one cliffhanger. So long, but here it is. Right, pop it on. Let's see what it looks like. Right, let's... is on. We've been so carried away with the sewing bee and doing our videos that I haven't obviously done a vlog, and I left you with it, a teaser, but it's on. Look at those drop stitch effect. So I got one there and in the middle and one there. Now the sleeves just need I'm not going to do much with the end there. I think I'll maybe just do a couple of rows of garter stitch just to finish it off. I don't think I'll do a rib, so I've just got to do the sleeves. And then decide what I'm going to do with the neck. I might just do a simple bit of crab stitch crochet, backwards crochet, and just finish it off. But I quite like that sort of open boat neck. But it's virtually there, and it's that, you know, kind of, well, it is a design feature, isn't it? It would be nice on the beach. So I've now got a little sequence for you on how that stitch is done and how I achieved it. Enjoy. So as you just saw from that demonstration, I had finished the end of the ladder stitch effect by casting on 3 stitches to cover the end of that effect. And then I've just done about four or five rows round a bit more, just to give it, you know, some protection at the bottom there. So it's all finished. Here it is. So I thought what might be good is to start with the crochet hook and watch us literally making the ladder stitch. This is where you hope I've caught the right stitch. I did check, you did see me double, triple check, but we're now going to see. Let's just start creating the effect. So we are literally just with the crochet hook pulling out that stitch. And this stitch effect was pretty much inspired by this wonderful Spanish knitter whose name I can't pronounce and won't even attempt to, but it will be on your screen now. And I just love his creativity and this drop stitch effect. Look at that already. I call it drop stitch effect, but it's actually a ladder stitch. Can you see that? Yay! And there it is. Back to the beginning. A great little stitch to do. So let's just get changed and back into another make which I have done this week, and that is my second ever jersey tee. Woo. Ta-da! Not bad, is it? So this was out of just simple blue fabric. If you see on the link above, I'll link to my first ever t-shirt, which scarily was a year ago. It was during the Sewing Bee chats that we did for Series 5, and Ting challenged me to make a jersey tee. I had a week to make it, and I did. It was a challenge. I think I threw the neckband across the room 2 or 3 times. That was the hardest part, but you can see how I got on with that. Now, I had made that pattern up by literally choosing a favourite t-shirt and lying it on tissue paper and drawing around it, and I tried my best to allow for seam allowance, but it was a bit short. I think you can see on the pictures now it was a bit short around the arms. So for this one I literally took apart one of my favourite tees from Zara and carefully unpicked all the seams, so I've still got the seam allowance there, and I laid it out, drew around it on tissue paper, so I've now actually got my own pattern for the t-shirt. And actually, as you can see, it's turned out right. The sleeves are a bit longer, though I might just add another 1/4 of an inch on there for seam because I want to do this effect, but it's not bunched up at all. Neck managed to get right for the first time, so it didn't get flung across the floor like what happened the first time round. The only thing I need to get better at is my hemming. Not very good with that. I want to try and get one of those 2 needles where you do that nice proper edge that most t-shirts are finished with, and the same with the arm. But it seems a bit tight. Are you supposed to, you'll be able to help me with this, are you still supposed to use a stretch stitch with that? or not. I'm not sure. I suppose because, look, the overlocked. I suppose when you're hemming, you just do a normal stitch, don't you? But I'm really, really pleased. I think it's not too tight. It's a nice fit. I think it could obviously do with being a bit longer, so I might just add probably a couple more inches there on the length. But considering we're all in the sewing craze at the moment, sorry if your notifications have been spammed each week with our sewing bee videos. But it's only on for 10 episodes and we're halfway through, so only 4 or 5 to go. So if you're not a sewing fan, I hope we don't put you off. Yeah, so we're all sort of crazy with that, so I thought I'll get the sewing machine out and do a bit of sewing. Now, speaking of sewing bee challenges, they released the pattern for the smocked dress, which was used during Children's Week. And I thought, you know what, we're reviewing each episode and we're talking about who did well, who didn't, as if we're all professionals, and we're far from it. So I thought, let's have a go myself. So I set myself up, I put the clock on, and I had a go at making the smock dress in the 3.5 hour challenge. Let's start now. So, stop the watch so far, just over half an hour on cutting out the pattern pieces alone. So I've got now 3 hours left. So starting to sew now. So it's now 1 o'clock. I've got to the Peter Pan collar stage. I have no clue how to do it. The instructions make no sense to me at all. So I'm now going to probably admit defeat because we've had 3 hours. I've only got half an hour left. So I've got a cuppa, a packet of crisps, and I've got YouTube here to look at the Peter Pan collar. But all the Peter Pan collars so far make it with the bodice not sewn together, so it's done flat. So this Peter Pan collar method is completely different. So I've now got to spend some time on YouTube searching that. My brain doesn't understand those instructions, so and I'll keep sewing and then actually come back to you when I've finished it and see how many more minutes or hours it took to finish it. I am exhausted. It is now 10 to 5 and I've kind of finished. I'm not doing any more. So I have got the bodice attached to the top. I have done a bit of embroidery, but this is where you realise your machine. I mean, I've got quite a good machine here, but about 5 seconds in doing a posh embroidery stitch, the thread breaks. Now on the episode you saw it happen with Claire, but you didn't see it happen with anyone else. But we threaded it, did a little bit more, and it broke again. Now it starts to make you think that's the reality of it, isn't it? So I changed my needle, and it still kept threading and breaking, so I gave up in the end and just went to a straight stitch and did some straight stitches on there, which you'll see. I didn't do the Peter Pan collar because the instructions made no sense. It's probably really straightforward, but my brain just couldn't comprehend the instructions and picture it. I think it's because of the difference in shape. So that's it. So I started that smocking at 2:30. 2:30, so that was an hour after the deadline. 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, that's another 2.5 hours. I mean, fair enough, that is completely new to me. I'm a beginner and a beginner dressmaker, so many techniques were new. So I'm not expecting to be anywhere near as good as those contestants. They are clearly very, very experienced, but it does make you then appreciate even more what they achieve in 3.5 hours. Complete, you know, that concentration. I am now exhausted from thinking. I mean, there were a couple of times where I did it wrong, had it wrong way round, inside out. So it just goes to show how tiring it is. So anyway, my attempt, still not finished. So I would be bottom and I would be sent home for sure. Great fun though. Now off to get some lunch. I finished at 5 o'clock. I started at 10. So 10, 11, 12, 1. 1:30 was the end of the deadline. 1:30, 1:30, 1:30, 1:30. It's another 3.5 hours. And as I say, I got there. You can see, well, I haven't cut many of my threads there, but you can see the gathering. That was hard in itself. You leave long threads, you pull, and it snaps. But yes, so there's my then smocking, and that, my fake smocking with the machine embroidery stitch, chose a fancy stitch, and I've used machine embroidery thread because obviously I use it for quilting, but yeah, did it stay in the machine? Snap. Rethread, 5 minutes later, snap. So I really, really feel for those sewers. So I would have been rock bottom. I would have not, well, if I was on that challenge and I put that on the mannequin, it would have, it would have literally been the top bit. So I kind of feel for when Peter, on one of the episodes, literally missed off some panels because it is so intense. Now they are experienced sewers. I'm very much a beginner. I'm a beginner. I'm a quilter. I understand the principles of patchwork, but I'm very, very much a beginner for dressmaking. 2 or 3 garments and the t-shirt. So learning very much, but that's hard. So I have complete respect for what they're going through to do that in the time they set, because it is obviously the time has to be short because it then makes it exciting for us to watch as the viewer. But so in the end I just fudged my Peter Pan collar. I still have no idea how to do it because all the tutorials, because I did go on YouTube to have a look, all the tutorials are on YouTube tell you how to do it in a different way to what the TV show did, because I still can't understand how you get rid of all those raw edges on the inside, or are the raw edges all going to be there anyway? And that was my attempt at top stitching, but nevertheless it was it good fun to do? I think so. Looking back, it was stressful, but huge respect for those sewers. But we have been really enjoying watching the sewing bee. Have you got your favourites? It is a great programme. It's just nice. It's it's nice to see them crafting, and now we've got down to only a few sewers left. You get to see more of that sewing too. Well, we'll see where we go with the sewing, how much more I do. Now, talking about finished makes, let's go over to the gallery now and have a look at what you've been making. So where are we now? 8 weeks into lockdown, and we are slowly coming out here in the UK. Some restrictions have been eased, travel restrictions. We can now travel wherever we want in England, which is great. So that means I can go over to the shop a bit more than I have been. I've only been going over once a week because I did feel bad about driving over to the shop and I was processing orders, whereas now I can go over a couple of times a week now, clear up, tidy, get things ready. We've been given a provisional date as well when shops can reopen, non-essential shops, June the 15th, which is fabulous. Don't think I'll go back straight away to being open full time. I can't see many people coming out. A lot of my customers are shielding as well, and I'm not too sure about how people feel about browsing shopping, because obviously that won't be really allowed. It's not as comfortable in the shops because of still having to maintain social distancing, 2 meters apart, and drills with hand sanitizer before you go in. So shops are still going to have to really look after their staff and their customers. So I can't see many people perhaps coming back to shopping too soon. So I'm provisionally playing around with opening on a Friday and a Saturday, because I don't want it obviously to cost more to open if there aren't many customers about. So we'll try 2 days. So I'm looking forward to getting back into the shop and seeing you all. Speaking about shop, I've had quite a few deliveries recently. So let's take a look at some of the new wool that's just come in. The size of that. So got to put some yarn out on the shelf. So it's just great to be back. Sun shining, put some music on. Let's have a good day. Another order done. Therese is in next door, the lady who runs the tea shop, and she's doing drop-offs and deliveries, and she's brought in a nice cheese scone. My Katia delivery, and there is a new yarn in there for this summer. Now that butterfly yarn looks fabulous, and I think that's going to make some really nice summer knits. Very light cotton and beautiful summer sort of colours. Now speaking of makes, look, made myself a headband. Now how 80s do I look? It is getting long, that's for sure. Now, talking about getting long, look at the woad leaves here. I feel like I'm in a jungle. considering you saw those probably last time, about 4 weeks ago. Because we've been doing the sewing bee videos, so I haven't shown you an update, and we're now on episode 5. So yes, that's 5 weeks. Wow! So look how much they've changed in those 4 weeks. They will soon be ready to pick and to do the fresh leaf extraction. So I'm very excited. I mean, look at that! Isn't that fabulous? So I will be picking those leaves, pretty much doing it straight away, and that will be a great video for you to watch. So I'll be using the leaves, boiling them up, and then suddenly taking it down to a cold temperature, and then putting it straight into a vat and making a vat, and then dyeing some yarn. Well, thanks very much for watching. Loads of things going on, loads of sewing updates and wool updates. And I hope, as I said before, I hope you're not being too bombarded with the sewing bee videos. If you want to see them, you can see them now. I'll link to them now. We're still taking it carefully, and I'm sure you will too. So we'll hopefully see you soon on another stay-at-home vlog. Bye.